Okay, what is good, everyone? This is the first check-in video of I don't know how many. So basically what I'm thinking is I'm gonna start posting weekly check-in videos to document the process of me building this agency, becoming the best version of myself and the best businessman that I can be, possibly. My name's Adrian, if I didn't say that already. I just turned 18 and yeah, I don't really know how these videos are gonna go. I'm just gonna kind of sit down, speak to the camera and just see what happens. But I'm sure that it'll help you by giving you some advice, or maybe even you get some sort of new insight on how to run your agency or your business or something like that, right? So let's get straight into it. So quickly, just to give you a bit of context, I've been running Dranko Media for over a year now, and we've seen some growth. We had some big months, but we haven't gone to a point where it's like fully matches the equivalent of like a normal income. Obviously, my goal right now, and I'll tell you why I set this goal like this, but my goal isn't 10k a month, it isn't 5k a month, it's not 100k a month, it's 200k a month, $200,000 per month. And I know it might sound crazy for the people who know me because it's just like, I went to school with this guy. But the reason I'm setting my goal so high is because the biggest goals are the least fought for. I'm sure if you guys are on Instagram, you've seen people saying, road to 10k a month, road to 20k a month. And sure, that's a good income. But the thing is, my vision, at least my visions, and I know probably a lot of you watching this, are set so much higher than just the minimum. And there was oh my gosh, I forgot who said it, but it was on a podcast. And he basically said, some people's potential is like, 100,000 a month, 200,000, a million a month. But then because they only set the goal of 10k a month, they waste that potential. And he said some sort of quote like, the worst thing that you can do is set a goal that you think you can achieve and then achieve it, because that means that you could have probably done a lot more. So that's why I'm setting such a high goal. And with such a high goal is a whole new version, a whole new way of thinking about things. So instead of thinking about how can I get 10 clients, I have to think how can I get 50, 100 clients, or how can I charge more per client? And it's a challenge that I want because one of my really big goals is to become very, very competent in the world of business. I sound like Andrew Tate, bro. But I genuinely do want to become the best version of myself. And I know that a business is basically just a reflection of myself. And I've seen that because in the high points of my life, I guess you could say, the points where I've been very focused, very locked in, I've seen the most business progress. But then as soon as I start binging on bad food, scrolling and doing these other things, I get really bad. All my progress goes away. So I really do see it as a reflection of myself. Okay, but anyway, we'll speak about the business and how I'm going to scale it and all of that stuff in another video. I want to give you guys a piece of advice that I've learnt, and I know I'm only 18, but I've learned this because it's just so true. And it's the only way that you can do things is through action. And it seems like the most simple thing to understand, but it's only until you realize that most people's action is talking about their goals. Most people's action is reading books or creating a website. And that's what I've been doing. So that's why I'm saying this, because my business hasn't gained that traction because I haven't been doing action. That is a tough quote. It's not that tough, but it rhymes, so it's cool. There was a video I saw and it said you can't learn to swim by reading about water, right? You need to learn to swim by getting in there. So what I want to start doing, and what I am doing, is I want to really increase my failure and experimentation rate. I want to start failing more, experimenting more, so that I can learn faster and become better quicker. Because I'll tell you a story that happened to me that helped me understand this more. So back in 2022, when I was only 14 or 15 years old, I was very into Andrew Tate, and he was one of the people that I really looked up to in the sense of business and in the sense of becoming a better man in general. So what I did and what I set out to do was I joined his university. That's what I did. I joined Hustlers University, or the real world, and I just worked. I didn't even think about working. I just put my head down and I just started working. And I got on a sales call with this guy, and I obviously I was 15. I didn't have any sales experience. I didn't really know what I was even providing to the guy. I was doing copywriting, but then he said, so what exactly are you going to provide for me? And I said, I can do your emails, or like, I didn't even know what I was doing. So basically he didn't go forward with me. And then I just stopped because I was so sad, or not sad, but I was so like let down because of my failure. And I look back now, so like December 2022, that's when it was. I look back and I say, imagine if I spent these last 3 years basically doing more and learning more and failing more. Because what I did was actually stop doing copywriting after that failed sales call. And then I was like, okay, let's open this new agency. And I can't lie, it took me like 2 years or like a year and a half to actually open this agency. Like I was writing down, what is this agency going to be about? What is this? Like, what's the logo going to be? What's this going to be? And I wasn't reaching out to people because it was the thing that I was scared of. And to be honest with you, the beginning of this year, I spent basically all of the money in my bank account on a mentorship. And obviously it was about outreach. And I just was so drained through this outreach because of the previous failures that I didn't put my all into it. And I've just not been doing the right things. And that's the lesson I want to give to you, which is do the right things. So you have to work on the right things. You have to take actual action as well. So don't just say, oh, I'm just going to create my perfect email template. You got to actually act and fail and experiment. And that's what I'm going to be starting to do. And I want to hold myself accountable to this through this video. So I'm going to start posting content like this on YouTube. And then I'm going to start posting more content on my Dranko Media account and on my personal brand on Instagram, which will be both linked in the description. So I'm going to hold myself accountable, and you're going to see the entire journey from this is basically day one. And you're basically going to just see how it is to build. I'm 18. This is the youngest I'm going to be. This is the most time I'm ever going to have to work on a business. And this is the prime of my mental, physical, everything. So I should be taking the most advantage of this in my prime, learning from failures. So I'll give you an example. That advice I just gave you is me learning from my failures. And now what I have to do is apply that knowledge, because I can say, oh yeah, work on the right things. But if I'm not applying what I'm working on, if I'm not applying that to my work now, then what's that going to leave me with, right? Anyway, I'm not going to do this video for too long. I just thought I'd give you a piece of advice for the first one. Just lessons that I've learned from my walk in entrepreneurship and in life, I guess, in general. I hope it helps you guys out. I'm going to try to think of a better structure for these videos, so it's not just like me sitting here and yapping. Maybe you guys might like me sitting here and yapping, but we'll see. So yeah, this is week 1, or this is day 1, the first week of the weekly check-ins. I'm going to think of a better name for them. And that's about it. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you want. I don't really care. Bye.